Now I think you can see the slide now.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So again, a quick intro. Okay. So this is now I mentioned about Guru Deva Vananda Marga. So okay. So now the next slide again. It's like the message of the founder. That is, yoga is the path of progress, the path of development for each and every human being. In individual life, we should practice yoga, and in collective life, we should encourage others to practice yoga. Okay, and it is the panacea of all human ailments in the physical realm, in the psychic realm, and also in the spiritual realm. Okay, this is the message of Guru Deva. So again, for those you, I mean, just for an intro, it's very important. So this is the founder of Ananda Marga. So who revived, in fact, who improvised on the system of yoga, the practice of the tantric system, and using the Astaunga yoga, what they call model. Okay, and he created an organization, and he trained many acharyas to spread the message of yoga. Right. So again, Swananda Marga, they have this the branches all over the world. So even in Malaysia, we have several centers or ashrams. And Ananda Marga means path of bliss. Okay, so the motto of Ananda Marga is Atma Mokshartam Jagatitaicha. So just a little bit of introduction of myself. My name is Pathmanathan. So the same name was given by my parents. In the Sanskrit form is Pathmanath. So both name are the same. Okay, just that when I was initiated into this school, my acharya gave the what do you call, maybe rename me the Sanskrit format. All right. So this will be the outline of the program today. So I will introduce the key concept of yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga, introduction to sadhana, okay, and conclusion. Okay, I believe most of you, I think almost 90% of you, attended the introductory talk last week. Okay. So again, I shall repeat that yoga is an ancient part of self-culture which originated in India thousands of years ago. And yoga is also a science because it is methodical, and it has effects on the physical anatomy, emotions, mind, and spiritual consciousness of the practitioner. And according to the tradition, okay, the tradition says even though modern yogi practitioner may call yoga merely as some form of physical exercise and so on. Okay, last week I already said, although there are 300, although statistics shows that there are 300 300 million practitioners of yoga worldwide. Okay, that is a huge number, but majority of them are actually into the one aspect of yoga, which is the asana, okay, the postures, while the yoga comprise of 8 limbs. Okay, and yoga is the prime prime purpose of yoga is to lead you towards enlightenment. Okay, and we will see how it works. Okay, there are many schools of yoga again. So there are classical, basically the classical schools of yoga. There are few, such as the school of Raja Yoga, the school of Tantra Yoga, the school of Laya Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and so on. Okay, I may not be able to explain to you the differences of the schools, but maybe we may get time. Maybe even if you want to know, maybe in Q&A you may question it if it is really necessary to you for you. Okay, but basically the various parts of yoga can be likened as, can consider it as various technologies of self-culture to attain the same goal. Just like you buy automobile, okay, car. So you have a Mercedes, you have Toyota, you have Honda, okay, Mazda, and so on. All these cars you can drive all these cars, but there are differences in terms of speed, the technology, the speed, the comfort, safety features, and so on. Same thing can be applied to yoga. Okay, so now we come back again. Yoga, according to the tradition, it's very important. And again, I will say this: the school from to which I belong to, my Gurudeva. So we stick to the tradition. Okay, stick to the traditional meaning of yoga, because that is the original meaning. And I will give you two definitions here. Okay, the first definition of yoga is Samyoga Yoga Ityukto Jivatma Paramatma. Means yoga is the union of Jivatma, or the individual soul, and Paramatma, or the universal soul. And another school, the school of Raja Yoga, it defines yoga as Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means cessation or suspension of vritti, or propensities of mind. You see, this is another approach. Okay, but you don't have to worry about it. And even if you can't get any idea out of the first definition, so because who's the universal soul, who's the individual soul, and so on. So we will try to unfold this. Okay. So basically, the journey of yoga begins by understanding oneself through self-inquiry. Because you see, you go back, actually you have no other option. Okay, because we mentioned the traditional definition mentioned two entities, Jivatma and Paramatma. Okay, Paramatma, suppose, I mean, Paramatma is the supreme consciousness or the universal consciousness. So you cannot go there, you cannot understand the supreme consciousness. Jivatma is you. So you should start from you. Okay, you should do the self-inquiry and find out. So human being, so you're constituted of body, mind, and soul. Okay, as an individual consciousness, a human is known as Jiva. Okay, all life forms, they are Jiva. All life forms, plants, animals, even microorganisms, they are Jiva. Various form of Jiva. And the most developed Jiva on this planet or any other planet is a human form. Because of the developed mind. You have a human being, they possess a developed mind. So again, quick snapshot. So Paramatma, or the universal consciousness, is the fitness of the entire creation. Okay. Can say this is the nucleus. Okay, nucleus of the universe. And you are at the other end. Okay, why? So there are Jiva and Jivatma. Okay. So there's an analogy there. The moon in the sky is like Paramatman, and its reflection in the pond is Jivatman. Okay, you can get some idea. So the reflection of Paramatman on unit mind is Jivatman. Okay, so that means the universal consciousness is the original man. You are the shadow. And out of that shadow, you created an individual consciousness. Okay, so you have your own ego, you have your own motives, and you have descended to to the physical form. So having a physical form, so you identify, because of ignorance of your true nature, you identify yourself with your skin color, your ethnicity, your gender, either male or female. Then also you add to your profession, your religion, and many other things, and you are stuck there. Okay. So in yoga, you are trying to rise both. So try to understand. So that's why you have to inquire first. It's not like if the scripture or the tradition or master tell you that you are a Jivatma, you are not Chinese or Indian, you are not a male or female, you are not rich or poor, and so on. You have to analyze it. Okay. So what am I? You have to do some self-introspection. Okay, so I give another analogy. So Jivatman, Paramatman. So this is in one of the Upanishad. Okay, the school of Upanishad belongs to the school, another school, but still, in many ways, you can give the example. So in the Upanishad, they say the Paramatma is like one bird sitting on top of the tree. So two birds live on the same tree. So one bird is busy eating the fruit, and the fruit is sometimes tastes sweet, sometimes bitter, sometimes sour, and based on that experience, the other bird sometimes happy, sometimes not happy, and off and on it observes the other bird, which seems to be very serene and undisturbed, unperturbed. So eventually, this bird try to. So actually, this particular tree doesn't really reflect the message in the Upanishad, because like according to the Upanishad, the other bird's supposed to be on top, And this, the other bird, the second bird, the shadow bird, supposed to be in the lower branches and so on. So it kept looking up, and then it started to jump from one branches to another. And one day it became determined to find out the truth, or the secret of happiness, or secret of being calm and steady from the other bird. Why the other bird is not eating any fruit yet remain calm. So, and when it reached the top, there's no other bird. Then only it realized, so the bird on top was actually its own self, while the bird which was eating the fruit is the reflection or the shadow. And this tree is your own body, and the fruit you eat is actually all your experiences and objects which came from the world. Okay, so don't worry if this idea is new, because I will bombard this idea again and again until you understand, and you can also raise your question. So I'm just giving you a quick what do you call it? It's like taking a quick glance. Then before we understand about these concepts. Now again a quick glance. Who is this Paramatma, or the universal consciousness? Okay, in Sanskrit, so these words have various meaning. In the language of the scripture, the Indian scripture, so one common word coined by the rishis and also used in the school of Tantra in yoga is Brahma. Okay, in the second bullet. So Brahma was formed from the root word Brihat. So Brihat means infinite. So Brahma means an infinite entity, because the rishis in their meditation, they discovered that you cannot comprehend this entity by the mind. So by investigating their own self, they found out, so it is infinite. So they coined this word Brahma. So that's to teach the next generation, just to give an idea that you are actually searching an infinite entity. Okay, so Brahma is not a person. Okay, it's a consciousness. And Paramatma, when that word is just like in the story of the bird, is the witnessing soul. I mean, that is the source. Okay, the attribution of Brahma. So Brahma and Paramatma are essentially the same. Okay, they are both the same. Just the various name, like there's another word in Sanskrit called Ishvara. Ishvara means controller. Okay, so I won't go into that. So the third bullet, Yahweh or Jehovah, this is used in the Hebrew tradition, the Judaism and Christianity. So the meaning is he brings into existence whatever exists. Again, the source of creation. In the Muslim tradition, Allah or Allah means the God or the one God. In Buddhism, Buddha never mentioned any God. In fact, the Buddhists, they said Buddha never mentioned a soul. In fact, actually, he did mention because in Buddhism, because Buddha himself is a revolutionary, he was basically reacting to the priests, the Indian, the Vedic priests during his time. And he felt, and that is the truth also, that the Vedic priests, they used to monopolize knowledge. So they don't teach Sanskrit to the common people. So they said they are the doorkeeper. So, and they kept people in the dark. And Buddha, out of his compassion for the common people, so he said, I will formulate my teaching. I mean, my teaching should be written in the common language. So the language he chose was Pali language. So Pali is, in a way, is a distorted form of Sanskrit. So the word karma, for example, become kamma. The word dharma become dhamma. So the word atma become atta. And they use another word for anatma. Anatma means, again, the meaning is similar to Paramatma or universal consciousness. But it is used in negative, because in that context, Atma means individual self, Anatma means universal self. So Anatma become Anatta in Buddhism. Okay. So there are other words like Ahura Mazda in Zoroastrianism and so on. So I just give some common examples. So basically, in all tradition, they try to search the truth about the original being, or this, is to answer the ontological question. The ontological question is to understand the category of being in this universe. Okay, in philosophy, there's a method to study. All right. So it still doesn't matter. Okay, you cannot answer the ontological question tonight. Even the next 12 years or 24 years, you may not understand it. But one thing is certain: by analyzing your own self, you will arrive somewhere. Okay, now forget about Mr. Paramatma, Mr. Brahma, Mr. Yahweh, whoever it is. Now come back to yourself. So again, the one universal consciousness appears as countless life forms or jivatma. Okay, so as earlier mentioned earlier, you are a reflection. So within the creation, the jivatman will evolve continuously, and upon reaching a certain level of maturity, it will seek to return to its original state. Okay, means you have the material. You have the material of universal consciousness. You are a seed originated from another tree. So in one seed, the entire tree is there, right? Just like that. Okay. So when the mind reaches Paramatman, both Jivatman and Paramatman will become one. Okay. All right. We will explore that in the coming slides. Okay. Then Jivatman reaches Paramatman by abandoning its individuality. Okay. So if you hold tightly to your individuality, you will never attain Paramatman or enlightenment. Okay. So first, the Jivatman has to be awakened. Okay, again, don't worry. In some places I wrote Jivatma, in some places Jivatman. It's the same. Okay, it's just they use these interchangeably. Atma, Atman, Paramatma, Paramatman. Okay, Brahma, Brahman. Okay, so it's not typo. Okay, both spellings are used interchangeably. Okay, so the maturity. So that means, okay, in yoga they are saying that this is not the first time that you were born in this universe. You came many times. You die many times, you're born again and again and again. And it's a process of learning. And in one life, you'll become mature. And there will be an awakening in you. And that awakening is called Dharma. So according to my Gurudeva, okay, Dharma is defined as Brihattesana Pranidhanam Cha Dharma. Means to desire and run after the great is the Dharma. All right. Give an example. Say you go to primary school, secondary school, okay? Some of you, not all of you, you want to become the first in the class, right? Or later in your career. So you want to become somebody. Always you want to become dominant. Or take this, some people. So when I was young, there was one runner called Carl Lewis. He used to be the fastest man. Then many other athletes came. So when Ben Johnson, and then he was accused of using drugs, steroids, and so on. And then until recent time, it was Usain Bolt. So why people are so obsessed with this, becoming the fastest man on earth, for example. So nobody can become the fastest man because somebody else is going to break your record. But at that particular time, for a few years, they will hold the record. But there is something in your mind, in yourself, always motivates you to do this. That is that desire to become great, but you don't know. So you kept looking at various areas. Okay. So based on the analysis of the rishis and yogis, they said the human, psychologically, they have 4 kind of motives or longings. So they long for karma or physical survival. They also long for psychic expansion and progress in life. So they kept doing this. They kept repeating this pattern. Okay, so this 4 longings is a topic for next week. So I'm not going to go deep into that. So, but I'll just touch slightly to explain about Dharma. So we have the primary motive to survive. Okay, so that is karma. So we have the motive to progress, and that's why today we are here. So today, despite our physical distance, we could communicate. So this is the result of human continuous research for progress, which is Artha. But this didn't satisfy human beings. Okay, so some human beings, when they become more mature, so they begin to long for Dharma. So when you have the awakening called Dharma, you will start to ask a lot of existential question about your own nature, from where you came, what will happen after you die, who's that man behind the scene controlling everything, if there's such a man, so what is happening in this universe, what is that intelligence behind this universe, and so on. You have that question, that means dharma is awakened in you. That means that question has to be a real question, and you really wanted to find answers, not like a passing cloud. If it is a passing cloud, that means it's just some kind of intellectual, uh, some kind of, maybe you attend a lecture or you write a book, so you have that thought, but you didn't go really seriously to investigate. But when you start to investigate seriously, so it is dharma. Okay, there's a difference. So after fulfilling all, after the awakening of dharma, so you will know that the ultimate goal is moksha, or final enlightenment. So again, this is a theory or an idea. Okay, but all of us are seeking this, knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier. As individuals, most of us identify ourselves with our name, gender, ethnicity, and so on. Okay, so the state called jiva is the state of being an individual with self-awareness, survival instinct, and other motives in life. Okay, ask yourself, and don't believe in what I say. Ask yourself. Okay, so understanding our sense of individuality is the first step in yoga. Okay, if you question about yourself, otherwise, if you live a mechanical life, you're not into this. Okay, if you're very satisfied with your job, going to job, coming back, looking after your family members, watching TV, and then again looking forward to make more money, to improve the comfort in your life. So, so you are in a certain pattern. If you come out of that pattern, it's not that you have to leave that pattern. Okay, that has to be there. Yoga is not against any material comfort. Okay, you're not required to go and find some caves or some forest and all that. Okay, even you can hardly find any forest even if you want to go. So again, I analyze what you call your profiles. So when during in the registration, when I ask some details, there's a reason. So one of the things which I was looking at was your motive to join this program. So majority, not all of you, you fall into one of this category. Some says you want to join this program because of self-improvement, or your concern is about well-being, or the other one is spirituality. You can say 1/3 each. Almost 1/3 is going for self-improvement, another 1/3 well-being and spirituality. Okay, and I believe some of you may not have some idea of talking about spirituality. It's just a vague idea. Okay, but okay, so the idea is already dawned in your mind. So by practicing, so to answer briefly, so by practicing the 8 limbs of yoga, you can definitely improve your state of well-being, or improve yourself, or tread the spiritual path. But again, it has to come from you. It doesn't come from another authority. So all this begins by understanding your own self, or your individuality. I kept repeating this. Understand yourself as an individual. That is the very first step in yoga. Okay. So having said that, the next thing I will tell you the distinction between 2 types of knowledge. Okay. So actually in Sanskrit, the word for knowledge is vidya. And vidya, there are 2 categories. One is paravidya, another one is aparavidya. Aparavidya is what you learn from the world. Geography, math, language, history, science, physics, okay, chemistry, everything. So whatever PhD or master, whatever you have, all comes under this category. But this is an essential knowledge to survive and progress. Okay, so yoga is not opposed to this. Okay, it encourages it. But that is one category of knowledge. So the other category is vidya, this paravidya. And paravidya is about searching yourself, searching the truth. Okay, dharma, knowledge about concerning science of meditation. Okay, all the philosophy and all that all come under paravidya. Paravidya also is known as brahmavidya. All right. Then this knowledge again, you can categorize into two. One is paroksha anubhuti, another one aparoksha anubhuti. Paroksha anubhuti means secondary knowledge. So it's somebody else experience. For example, somebody ate mango and said mango is sweet, but that sweetness is like a bit sour and sweet and something like that, no? And you had, oh, mango is sweet or a little bit of sour and so on. So it's not your experience. Okay, so that is paroksha anubhuti. And when you eat the mango yourself, then that is your direct perception of truth. That is aparoksha anubhuti. So in yoga, now I'm sharing you some knowledge, sharing from the tradition, sharing from what my Guru Deva said. Maybe I shared something what I've experienced also. All these are paroksha anubhuti. But listening to the paroksha anubhuti, you have to do your own analysis. Use logic. Okay? Use logic, do analysis, study yourself, again study the text, study the teaching, again study yourself, and then you have to decide, okay, to study yourself further, you have to take up some practice like meditation. Okay, one aspect of yoga, I mean the entire yogic practice itself. And when you do that, you will experience, you will get the direct perception of truth. This is the purpose of yoga. Yoga is not to indoctrinate you. Okay, remember this very clearly. Yoga is not indoctrination. Okay, in fact, you have to break all form of doctrines to arrive to the truth. Right? I hope I'm very clear on this. Okay, so aparoksha anubhuti is a knowledge from your own realization. Okay, so one thing that you have to remember, our study here, okay, we are studying this together, we're looking at this together. Simple thing, don't worry about Jivatma, Paramatma, Brahma, all the terms and all that. If you can't memorize me, I didn't ask you to memorize. So main thing you have to remember, body, mind, and spirit. Spirit is the Atman. So our entire study is going to focus on this three only. All right. So, so I'll give you a short break so you can, anything that is not clear up to this very point, you can ask me now or I shall continue. So members from the floor, any questions so far?
Hi, Padma, Siva here. So,
Yeah.
understand that you mentioned that different type of schools that teaching different type of method of yogas.
Okay.
So, maybe you can briefly explain what's the difference. And the second question is, normally when people mention about yoga, they will just thought about the exercise. People
Right.
absent about these meditations methods and the other things. So maybe you can just briefly explain what are the science of yoga. Yoga is complete of the exercise and the meditation, or is it need to be like to have that meditation completeness, you must do the exercise as well?
Okay, the answer for your second question will come in the coming slides. Okay, so that will be answered shortly to everyone. And then the answer for the first question will be answered at the end after I complete, right? Because I think that's proper. I address that at the end. Okay, thank you, Siva, to that. All right. Okay, somebody is asking, paroksha is knowledge and aproksha is wisdom. Anyway, again, I will stick to what I explained just now. Paroksha is the knowledge which you get from secondary source. Aparoksha is the knowledge, okay, from your, of course, wisdom is from direct perception of truth. All right. Next. Right. Where I am. Okay, so let's come to this. So we are talking about Jiva. Now we are going to dissect this Jiva. Okay. So I was telling about studying or doing introspection on your own self, okay, your individuality. Okay. So you have, so what are you or who are you? Okay. So we mentioned about Jivatman or the shadow consciousness. Okay, the shadow consciousness. And so if you dissect yourself, so you have a physical body. So next to physical body, you have this mind. Okay, so mind is a type of awareness, but you have three components there. So one is the awareness, the primary awareness is the awareness of I am or I exist. This is known as Mahat, right? Then the next awareness is the awareness of Aham or I do. And the third is Chitta, which is your active mind or the objective mind. Okay, Aham and Mahat is the subjective mind. And this is the, so I mean, loosely they will say it's a feeling of done I. So I will explain it further. So I am is the existential awareness. Okay, for example, if you go to sleep, okay, you sleep at night, and when you wake up in the morning, your alarm will wake you up, and you will be like very alert, so you will be worried that you have to catch the you have to reach your workplace, you have to avoid the jam and all that. So usually you will become so you won't wake up gradually. Okay, but whenever you sleep, whenever you doze off, whenever you took a nap, especially in the afternoon, okay, I mean over the weekend and so on, you tend to wake up. Okay, after you wake up, I mean after half an hour, 1 hour, even 2 hours, you will be disoriented for some time, isn't it? So disoriented, and that moment you will open your eyes and you will feel that where I am. You will be asking the question where I am, why I'm here, why I'm not at office, and so on. And slowly, gradually, you will realize that this is an off day, and I'm resting. I just took a nap. Okay, because that is because your I am, your existential awareness is coming to place, and you realize about all the other things about your surrounding after that I am awareness descended to the level of chitta. Okay, so I do is the awareness of being the doer. That means you perform a lot of action and you claim the credit for it. So that's I do. So you have come one level down. And then the third one is done I, is the identification with all the action that we do. Okay, so you do a lot of action. Okay, you are a father, you are a mother, so you are an engineer, you are a businessman, okay, or you are a social worker, whoever you are. So you kept performing action, and that action, the impression from that action will go to your memory, will go to your subconscious mind, then it will go to the unconscious mind, and you repeat this pattern. And then slowly, you, um, your identification is with your action, and then your awareness is about your next action. So now you will be taking a meal. The next thing you will plan to go and visit a friend, or going to a theater, or going for shopping. So your existence and your awareness is constantly about action and about this world. So that's when your awareness has descended to the level of chitta. Okay, and this chitta is a portion of mind which has 5 layers. Okay, just like the onion, you can peel it off one by one, and you operate at the first 2 layers mostly. Okay, so the chitta is a state of mind from which a human being operates. So chitta constitutes of 5 layers, which are conscious, subconscious. So I'm using the language of um, what do you call modern psychology. Okay, because in yoga, conscious mind is called crude mind, subconscious is called subtle mind, unconscious is called causal mind. Okay, just to for you, I mean, to allow you to understand it, no, for familiarity purpose, I use the term of modern psychology. Okay, and then again, in the modern psychology, unconscious, we just call it unconscious, just like that. But in yoga, so you have 3 more layers within unconscious. So causal mind, which are known as supramental, subliminal, and subtle causal. Okay, again, I'm not going to go deep. I'm just giving you the body. Yeah? Okay, to understand, I'm giving you the structure, and in the coming lessons, so you'll get to understand it better. Okay, so and through the sadhana of Astaunga yoga, so all the various aspects of Astaunga yoga addresses these 5 layers. Okay, you don't work on aham, you don't work on mahat. Okay, you don't touch that. You just work on aham, on chitta, and unfold the chitta. By unfolding the chitta from the lower level to higher level, there's a progressively there is an expansion of your consciousness or awareness, and you get more clarity, and that clarity you can say it is a form of enlightenment. So enlightenment has many stages. Okay, as you gain more clarity, so you can also gain clarity by intellectual analysis of many things. For example, in your tradition, in your religion, they may have a lot of superstition. A black cat crossed the path, so it's an evil omen. Okay, but use an intellect, so the cat has to cross the road anyway. It doesn't know that you are coming. Okay, so if your mind, so if you can give up that fear, no, I don't, that is cat's business, my business is going to my place. So that means that there is a state of enlightenment. Or somebody says something, oh, the crow is sitting in front of the house is a sign of bad omen. Again, if you have the courage to discard this, that is an enlightenment. But in yoga, it is much more. Okay, the clarity make you understand many things. You can see it directly, right? So now in this diagram, I will show you the chitta itself, the 5 layers. Okay, at the lowest level, you see Annamaya Kosha, which is a body. So in Sanskrit, the body is known as Annamaya Kosha because Anna means food, because the body is made of food. Okay, so the body, although your cells are intelligent, even your cells, every cell has a mind. And your mind is like the God to all the cells in your body. Okay, so in fact, you being a microcosm and the universe or the universal consciousness being the macrocosm, and you as a microcosm, you yourself operate like a macrocosm in your own way, because all the cells in you, in your body, follows the command of your own mind. Okay, just to give you an idea. So Annamaya Kosha, this body, it doesn't function by alone. It has the higher intelligence than the Annamaya Kosha. It's the Kamamaya Kosha, which governs the body by instinct. Okay, that means you get hungry, so it is the layer, the conscious mind or Kamamaya Kosha, what you call, activates all those things. Okay, so the basic instinct like food, sleep, sex, self-preservation or fear is governed by this kosha. Anything about your physical body, your physical motive for your survival is controlled by Kamamaya Kosha. So, and this is a very unstable layer. You remain in this layer, your motive is only survival, just like the animal. But because we are more elevated than animals, we also have a developed subconscious mind. And with this, you have the capacity to learn. Okay, you can bring the tribal man from Africa or any other part of the world, put him into school, so you can educate that person through his subconscious mind, and you can make him a scholar or engineer or scientist or professor. Okay, you bring a chimpanzee and give the same education, you cannot transform the chimpanzee. Okay, maybe you can improve a little bit, but you cannot improve that chimpanzee to the level of human being, right? So that is the result of having developed Manomaya Kosha or subconscious mind. All right. So we have these two, and you can manipulate the Manomaya Kosha. Again, the subconscious mind of all of us is not developed at the same level. Okay. Like students in school, some of them, they're not so good in studies. They might be good in other kind of work. Okay. So it's because of the Manomaya Kosha, the subconscious mind. And subconscious mind can be improved. Okay. In Astaunga Yoga, you can improve it. Okay. All right. Then let's go to the unconscious or the causal mind. So you have the first one called Atimanasa Kosa or supramental mind. Okay, I won't go very deep into this. Just I'll touch lightly. So in future lessons, we'll go deeply into this. Then there is another second layer of causal mind or unconscious mind. It's known as subliminal mind. And the last one is the subtle causal mind. So what happens in these 3 koshas or layers? Earlier I mentioned about Dharma. Dharma awakens at supramental mind. Okay, so suppose you go to a lecture by a Swamiji or by a scholar and anything, he talks about spirituality. That knowledge will reach you through the subconscious mind. But if the speaker doesn't have the power of the unconscious mind, I mean, if the speaker's mind is not that powerful, his knowledge will only reach you at the subconscious. Okay, it cannot shake you. But some people will speak and they can penetrate up to your unconscious mind. Okay, so that is the power of my higher mind, and by that power, they can awaken the sense of dharma in you. Okay, so even if you don't speak to anybody, so if you reach the maturity through dharma, so naturally there's an awakening, and that happens through this first layer. Okay, and all the impression, all your motive to do perform action is stored in this mind also. In manomaya kosha, or the subconscious mind, is a memory that you gain in this life. All right, and if you created a strong pattern through your subconscious mind through your regular activity, that will be eventually stored in the supramental mind also. Right, so if you surpass this, if you transcend atimanasa and goes to the subliminal of Vijnanamaya Kosha, you will reach a more stable state of awareness. Okay, so Buddha was already in that state of awareness. That's why when you see a dead body, he got that awakening. He saw what they call a sick person, an old person, and a dead person. Suddenly something triggered him. That is the effect of Vijnanamaya Kosha. You also see dead people, still people continue with their life. Okay, so or Ramana Maharishi in the modern day. So he had an awakening after hearing about Arunachal. Okay, there's one place which is famous for pilgrimage and a lot of siddhas doing meditation. So the moment he heard the name of the place, he became so restless and he went there and he started to do intense tapas. So that is the work of Vijnanamaya Kosha. So Hiranmaya Kosha is where is a state where you're very close to your own Atman, to your own soul. Okay. So with each practice of Astanga Yoga, you will unfold each of these layers. First, you will stabilize the layers, and then you'll unfold and you'll go to the higher and higher until you reach the soul. That is a science behind this. Okay. So in the next slide, I'll show you. Okay. So most people operate through the body. Okay. Through the body, the conscious, and the subconscious mind. And these three, of course, the conscious and subconscious mind is relatively unstable. So you'll be subject to up and down, anxiety, so it's not stable. But the unconscious mind is more stable. So the first thing that you can actually experience yourself by regular practice of yoga, by various regular meditation, breathing exercise, and so on, is that you will actually begin to unfold the unconscious mind. Your mind will be more stable. You'll be more peaceful. Okay, not easily provoked. Okay, something that you can experience by regular practice, continuously for some time. Okay, all right. All right. So now we come to the subject of 8 limbs of yoga. So last week I gave in the introductory talk, give you a quick glance about the eight limbs. Right. So the practice of yama. So I will go by item. In yama, they have 5 items there. Okay. In niyama also. So yama is how you conduct yourself, while living in this world, because you are constantly engaging with other people, your family members, your office mates. Okay, maybe you go to a shopping complex or you drive on the road. So you're constantly engaging with people. So you have to maintain a balance. Okay, so that is the purpose of yama. So niyama is subjective balance. I mean, inside your mind is unstable. Okay, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're unhappy. So niyama concerns about maintaining internal balance. Okay, so we will touch on this again next week. Okay, so asana. So we will go into asana today and pranayama. Okay, so asana is maintaining a steady posture. Okay, just now somebody asked Brother Shiva a question about this, that most people felt made to understand that asana is yoga. Okay, asana is the third limb of yoga. And asana works, okay, one work on the physical level. It also stimulates your glands. We have we have the major endocrine glands like the pineal gland, pituitary gland, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus gland, adrenal gland. So all these glands, some of these glands oversecretes or undersecretes. So everyone will have certain problems naturally, and the yoga posture help you to balance this. Okay, so that is one category of asana known as swastiasana. So there are 84 of them in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. So the other category of asana is the asana used for meditation, like Siddhasana, Pathmanathan, which I will demonstrate in a short while, okay, through a video. Then pranayama is breath control, okay, regulation of your breath. So pranayama affects your subconscious mind, asana affects your body, yama and niyama affects your conscious mind. And pratyahara help you to unfold pratyahara is sense withdrawal, means you collect a lot of information from the external world. So the word pratyahara was formed by two words, prati and ahara. Ahara means Indians are well, you're quite familiar with this word. Ahara means is another word for food. So here ahara means not only food. Okay, I like to advise the participant to mute your what do you call your audio, okay, if you're not speaking, right? Because you're distracting the flow. All right, back to pratyahara. So you're collecting information. So ahara means not only the food that you eat, but also what you see, what you hear, okay, what you taste, you smell. Okay, so we collect a lot of information. So even whatever that you think. So this become the memory. Okay, there are two types of memory: conscious, subconscious memory, and unconscious memory. Okay, and those memories created a pattern in your mind, created some kind of conditioning, and that is the ignorance which didn't allow you to understand your true self. So in pratyahara, there's a process of withdrawing yourself from the information from outside world, and also to withdraw from your thoughts. Okay, by proper practice, you will gain mastery, and your meditation begins here. Okay, the journey of meditation begins here. The last three, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, is the higher states of yoga. So in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the first 5 limbs, they call it external yoga or bahiranga yoga. The last 3 is known as antaranga yoga. So in fact, any practitioner for the first 12 to 24 years, they're going to focus on these 5 only, because to come to this, you have to be really subtle. That is the internal yoga. Okay. In fact, the meditation we are talking about, dhyana, is a 7th limb. Okay, so dharana, dhyana, and samadhi actually is like 3 steps together. Okay, that means after you attain siddhi in pratyahara, you'll be able to do dharana. It means you can allow your consciousness to flow singularly, non-stop. And when that is extended, that becomes meditation. And then when that was extended further, it becomes samadhi. Okay, total absorption, or also you can call it enlightenment. Okay, there's no direct English translation for this. Another meaning of sama. Sama means balance. Adi means origin. Okay, so that means by attaining balance, you go to the origin of your own consciousness. So I was explaining about all the 5 layers of mind. So what is the connection of these 5 layers of mind, also known as Panchakosa? Just now I was explaining it. So okay, the body, so the limb in yoga is the postures, proper diet, physical labor. So the practice of yama and niyama will actually strengthen, balance, and unfold the conscious mind or kama maya. The practice of breath regulation, breath control, will help you to unfold the subconscious mind or manomaya. And then the third one, supramental. Okay, you do the practice of pratyahara, which I explained earlier, and dharana will help to deal with your subliminal mind. So that's why dharana is a very high state. So ability to maintain a certain control over mind. Okay, and then dhyana is the next stage. Okay, suppose you are not doing any yoga. Most people don't do, right? So, and nature somehow will allow you to evolve also, but that evolution is a bit slow. So by taking proper diet and through physical labor, physical exercise, you develop your body. Okay. To develop your conscious mind, nature will give you physical clash, sickness, challenges, war, like now and pandemic now. So all this create a lot of clash, and that will actually develop your conscious mind. The same physical clash also will develop your subconscious mind. And psychic clash, okay, clash inside your mind, and contact with developed spiritualists or through education will develop your unconscious mind. The first two, Timanasa and Vijnana. An attraction for the great. Okay, suppose in yoga, you require the practice of dhyana to unfold the Hiranmaya kosha or the subtle causal mind. But if you are not doing any yoga, so your normal prayer, which you learn from your religion or a prayer system that you develop, or your yearning for truth, is okay. That is the attraction for the great. All of you have that. Through that intense prayer, you can actually reach this kosha, but for a short moment, then you'll come back. In yoga, we are doing it systematically. We deal with all the layers, and the effect on your mind is permanent. That's why you become more elevated than the rest of other human beings. Okay. Again, it's a quick glance at the connection with 8 limbs and the 5 layers of mind. Okay. So to answer Brother Shiva's question, I already said. So asana is only one aspect that doesn't represent yoga. So asana only develop your body, and it can have some minor effect on your mind. It has effect on your, because when it affects your gland, it affects your, of course, asana affect your muscles, bones, and all that. Yes, true. But asana is not your normal exercise. Okay, it's an exercise, but the effect is more inside. Right. All right, I've mentioned this earlier. So now we come to sadhana. But this is the last part of our lecture today. So okay, today I may take a little bit some time because we are giving you the overall picture. Okay. So the most important thing about yoga is not theory or the philosophy, but the practice. So you have to do the practice. So this practice we call sadhana. Sadhana means sustained effort. Okay. So without sadhana, there is no yoga. You have to do sadhana. To enjoy the fruit of yoga, you have to do some practice regularly to get the effect, to get into the realization. So when coming to sadhana, so the first thing that you're going to see is asana. Okay. So in sadhana, so the asana here talking about, so I mentioned earlier there are 2 types of asana. Okay. According to Yoga Sutra, asana is defined as stiram, sukham, asanam. So your posture, so when you develop, so today I'm going to see, I'm not going to talk about swastiasana, the various other postures, only the postures related to meditation. So the principle in Yoga Sutra is stiram, sukham, asanam. That means your posture should be steady. Okay. And your posture, and you should be pleasant while doing the posture. Okay, that means I'll show you a short video after this, and you'll understand what it is. Then, when the posture is firm, your mind will be steady. Because if your mind is shaking every now and then, you cannot focus. Okay. So suppose you sit for sadhana for 20 minutes. For that 20 minutes, you shouldn't shake. So people who do longer meditation for 1 hour, the body doesn't shake. That is the meaning of stiram. And because of that firmness, there is a pleasantness, because every asana is designed in such a way, it presses certain nerves and so on. Like Pathmasana, it has certain effect. Siddhasana has a certain effect. Okay. So some of the postures, Pathmasana, Siddhasana, Swastikasana, and Sukhasana. Okay. So the important aspect in sadhana is that you should adopt a steady and firm posture, regulate the breath, and withdraw the awareness. Okay. 3 practice I'm talking here: asana, pranayama, and pratyahara. Right. And fixing. Withdraw the awareness and fix at a single point, because your mind is scattered throughout the body. If you withdraw the mind, trying to steady it, the mind will be what you call being will get restless. So you have to stabilize the subconscious, and your practice begin at subconscious. Okay. Right, I already explained this earlier. So some of the asana here. So Padmasana, okay, we call it known as lotus. So the variation of it, Ardha Padmasana on the right, Siddhasana or the perfected pose, a slight variation of Siddhasana, Swastikasana, and Sukhasana. And if you cannot sit, so I recommend all this. Okay, you pick one, and if you have some physical difficulty, so you take this. So there's nothing wrong. So most important thing in asana, so you have to maintain your spine straight, right? Even if you sit in Padmasana, you're not supposed to bend your body. All right. So you see this video.
Pathmanathan, there's no voice, there's no audio.
So you can't hear the audio. Okay, just one moment.
But when you share, you need to enable the audio in the Zoom.
Wait, just one moment. So I see that this posture which is being demonstrated is the Padmasana, no? Okay. So I mentioned about two types of asana here. Okay, you just see the demonstration of the Padmasana in a short while, okay? Okay, this is, I'm going to demonstrate, you see, I'm demonstrating Padmasana, the lotus posture. So you put one thigh, the leg on each thigh. So this is the posture called Padmasana or lotus. Okay, you have to maintain a straight back and okay. So by maintaining a straight posture there, so so you still can't hear the audio, right?
No.
All right.
No.
All right. So okay, what I will do is this video I'll share again in the group, because after this I'm going to make a group what do you call just for the participants. So then you will see this video. All right. So we'll go back to this. So this, just take a look at these postures. Okay. So again, I will share the video in your in the group. All right. So then we shall move to the next practice. Okay. After what do you call adopting a steady posture. Okay. So even sitting on the chair. So next practice which I'm going to introduce today is Ujjayi Pranayam. So Ujjayi Pranayam is known as the psychic breath. Okay, the psychic breath, and this is not a very difficult breathing, but first aspect of Ujjayi Pranayam is to teach you how to breathe properly. So most of us, we take our breathing pattern is very shallow. It's not deep enough. So the proper way of breathing is you have to take the breath from your stomach. So here, you have to be conscious of your stomach. So you have to concentrate on your navel. Okay. So when you first take a few deep breath from your stomach, then breathe out. Okay. Just breathe in, breathe out. All right. But the method here for this Ujjayi Pranayam is when you breathe in your mind, you imagine that you're actually pulling it from navel up to the midpoint of your eyebrow. Slowly. Okay, while the air will be going in, so don't bother about that. Then as you exhale, in your mind, you are moving again from this point to the navel. Okay, is it clear? So that means physically you'll be breathing normally, but deeply. But in your awareness, you pull from the navel through the midpoint of your eyebrow. And then as you breathe out, so while the air goes out through your nostril, in your mind, you are moving from this point to this point. Okay? Is it clear to everyone? Or I shall explain again.
I like to ask something regarding the breathing. Yeah.
Mm.
So when we are inhaling through the navel,
Mhm.
and then we are imagining that it comes all the way to our middle of our
Yes, I get
eyebrows,
you.
right?
Yeah.
Will our body move as well? So, cause when you inhale, your of course your tummy expands, and then your ribs actually expand as well. So, would you feel that as well?
I mean, you don't have to be conscious of moving the body and all. Of course, there's a movement in the tummy and all that, you see. But you maintain a steady posture.
Mm-hmm.
But you try to do this as subtle as possible. Don't do it like with force. Do it like you see, like what I do. So it's like just breathing, but you're breathing consciously. All right, and your awareness is inside, and your awareness is from the navel to the midpoint of eyebrow, from midpoint of eyebrow to the navel. Okay, just that. All right,
Okay.
it comes with some practice. Okay, so you do these 3 to 7 times. Okay, if you are clear on this, I will move to the next slide. Okay, any other question on this? Okay, don't worry about this. For the next 7 days, you because I'm going to create a separate group for this class, so you can raise the question continuously next day, except the time when I'm sleeping. So I'll give you a time to contact me. Either you can message in the group or personally. Okay, next. Okay, this is the aspect of pratyahara. Okay, so there are some members of the Ananda Marga school here. So your meditation, you just do your normal practice. Okay, but this practice you can use for relaxation, for yoga nidra. Okay, but for the rest of you who don't have any technique of sadhana, this is the practice of pratyahara. Okay, so this it's called as body scanning or rotation of awareness. That means you adopt a steady posture, and after you adopt the steady posture, you do the breathing. After the breathing, you begin to rotate. You'll begin to rotate your awareness through 61 points, which is known as marma points. So in Ayurveda or this subtle Siddha practice and all that, they've identified some points or called marma points, which are anatomical locations in your body where a concentration of life energy exists, and the rotation of consciousness at these points induces autonomic relaxation. Okay, so that will help your pratyahara. Actually, it's a form of pratyahara. Anyway. Okay, right. So these are the points. Okay, in the whole body. So the midpoint of your eyebrow or the agya chakra. Okay, some points it is chakra. Not all chakras is used here. And then the throat, another point, throat chakra. So don't worry when you have like numbers here. So they just marked it. So you will actually move from this point to the right shoulder. So there is a sequence, and with that sequence, you'll come back to this forehead again. Okay. All right. So the marma points here. So you start from the forehead. So I will share this slide for you to study this. Then you go from the forehead, you go to the throat. Okay, the throat point. Then you move to the right shoulder, the right elbow. Just point the right wrist and all the tip of your thumb, from the right thumb, index finger, middle finger, okay, ring finger, a little finger, and then again you go back to the wrist. So that means you come from here, you go to the shoulder, you go to the what you call your elbow, to the wrist, and then to all the fingers, and then again you'll reverse to the wrist, to the elbow, to the shoulder, and then again to the throat, and then you'll repeat the same thing with the right hand side, left hand side. Okay, shoulder, what do you call, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and all the fingers, and then you reverse the thing again, and then you'll go back to the shoulder, the throat, then you come down. Okay, you come down to the midpoint of. So in the next slide, all the sequence are there. You know, so you come to the midpoint of the chest, and then you come to the right side of the chest. Actually, the exact location is the both side of the nipples. The right side again, go to the midpoint of chest. On the left again, come to the middle again. Then you go to the navel. Then you go to the point of slightly above the pubic bone. Then you go to the right hand side. You go to the knee. You go to the ankle, and then you'll cover all the toes. Then again you'll reverse. You'll come up to the hip point on the right. Then again you go to the middle on top of the pubic bone. Then to the left, and you repeat the same thing with the left leg. Go down to the knee, to the ankle, to all the toes. Then you reverse. You come back to the left hand side of the hip. Again, you'll go to the middle of the pubic bone. You go to the navel. You go to the chest, to the throat. Then you go to the 61 point here. Okay. When you identify the points, it's very simple. Don't worry. I believe all of you can do this. Okay. So, but you will be doing this in the sitting position, in the meditative posture. So after the breathing, then you rotate your awareness beginning from the forehead. So one round, you complete one round, you will be relaxed, and you may do another 2 times. You can try up to do 3 times. And after you finish that, the marma point, you start to repeat if you don't want to, you can repeat 2 or 3 more times. And then you go back to the Ujjayi pranayama. Okay. And your mind will come to a state of calmness, and you can enjoy the calmness. Okay. Enjoy the state where the subconscious mind is calm, more calm. Okay. So I will stop up to this point only for this week. So next week I will add one more practice in this. Okay. So the meantime, you have to get into this practice. All right. So any question on the marma point? Okay, don't worry here. So means when you look at all the whole thing, you can pick it up. Just 5-10 minutes you will understand, because just 61 point, and it is 61 because you're gonna repeat. So at some point you wanna repeat again. That's all. Okay. So any question on the marma points? So no question, then I will go to the. Anything? Or you're confused? Okay, if you're confused, also you can just say. All right. Okay, so no question. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Parimala here. There's a question. What does it? What are the benefits of doing this scanning when we do this body marma point scanning, right? What shifts in us that will help us relax and calm?
Okay. Actually, all these points are connected to some parts of your brain. So the effect of bringing or rotating your awareness at these points induces the relaxation at the brain point. Yes, that's how it works. So that is basically the principle behind it. Okay. All right. And actually, this week I won't touch on, because there are options. So while you are aware of that point, you can also be aware of the entire part, physical part. For example, you go to the point of wrist. You also can be aware of bring your awareness to the palm, the entire palm, before doing the rotation. So when you have that awareness at the elbow, you can be aware of, before going to the wrist point, you can be aware of your lower arm, like that. Or from the shoulder, you can be aware of the whole part here. That enhances the experience. All right. So you have to practice this. Okay, you have to practice this, and when you have doubts about it, okay, you can contact me. Right. All right. So next is So you need to allocate at least 15 to 20 minutes for this sadhana. And it is ideal if you could do 2 sittings daily. All right. But the requirement, at least to minimum 1 sitting. Out of 24 hours in your life, you find that 20 minutes compulsorily. Otherwise, there's no point in you joining this program. Okay? If without practice, if you just hear the theory, it's not going to benefit you in any way. And if you could do 2 times, very good. All right. And make sure that your last meal is 2 hours before the practice, and find a quiet place. Okay? A beginner, you need to find a quiet place and comfortable place with proper ventilation and so on. And most important is, if you think, okay, I can only spare midnight just before sleeping, okay, try and do, you will sleep. Because you have to do yoga practice when you are alert, when your energy is at peak. So find a right time. Don't find a time when you're already worn out. So of course, the best time in the morning, 5 o'clock. Okay. In Brahma Murda, the vibrations are different. Right. So key takeaways in this week, you see, yoga is both the path and the goal in the psycho-spiritual journey. Okay. Yoga is the path and also the goal. The goal is to unite with your own consciousness, the higher consciousness. And the journey of yoga begins by understanding oneself. Understanding yourself through self-inquiry. You must do self-inquiry. And you need to know what constitutes a human being. Okay. You must understand your individuality. You have to ask questions. Okay. There's 3 things: body, mind, and soul. You have to understand the concept behind it. All right. So one more thing is the practical aspect of sadhana is more important than the theory. Okay. Right. You know the theory, the basic. So focus more on the practice, and regularity is very important. Okay. With that, I conclude the session for today. So I'll just briefly address this question of Brother Siva earlier. So he asked, what are the difference between various schools of yoga? Okay, for example, the school of Hatha Yoga, the entire practice is on body and breathing. Okay, so the major text in school of Hatha Yoga, it's like their Bible, is Geranda Samhita and Hatha Yoga Pradipika. So they teach 84 postures. And you have to do all the 84 postures and attain mastery over the body progressively. Okay, so their purpose is to live long, to avoid disease, and to perfect the body. Okay, so like my Guru Deva don't recommend this, because he said the time you take to perfect the body, you can attain enlightenment with that much of effort if you use your mind. So in the other school is Raja Yoga, and this school work on mind, on stabilizing. Earlier I gave a definition, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So this school identify, it says that, which is true, this school says that what prevents you from attaining the state of yoga or knowing your own self is the distortion of chitta. Okay, I explained about chitta earlier. So the chitta is always occupied with something, some thought, some idea, something. Because chitta is like camera, it picks things up from outside or inside. Okay, constantly unstable. So the school of Raja Yoga says that chitta vritti, so you stabilize chitta. And Raja Yoga always use 8 limbs. So then I give an example of my own school. It's also known as Rajadi Raja Yoga. It's also use 8 limb, but the definition is Jivatma, union of Jivatma and Paramatma. Okay, we take that approach. And raising the Kundalini Shakti, your dormant potential, is one aspect, but I won't cover about Kundalini's course. All right. Maybe if you have time, maybe you will do, but so that is an integral part. All right. But the rest are the same. So like that. And there is another school called Laya Yoga, also taught in my school, in the school of Ananda Marga, is Vishesh Yoga. This is the higher yoga. Okay. You have to accomplish the initial stage of 8 limb before going to the Laya Yoga. Okay. So that is briefly about various schools. But all these schools are good. And maybe I would like to touch on the school of Yogananda, Kriya Yoga. Okay. So it's also about doing various type of kriyas to induce some changes in your brain, and which leads to and that changes also affects the mind, and that will lead you to realization. Okay, that's a briefly about various schools. Okay, so now okay, we took almost 1.5 hours today. All right, thanks for listening. And if there's any question, I would like to address the question. So before you can I mean, before you raise any question, so I'm going to start specific. I'm going to form a specific WhatsApp group. Okay, I know all of you are. I mean, in the other group, Sanathana group, but then in Sanathana Dharma group, there are other people as well. So here, this group going to be exclusive between the participant and myself, and it's easier for our communication, okay, without the distraction from others. You can ask a lot of, I mean, all the questions pertaining to the class and the practice and so on, right? So so I will start to add all of you, and then I will share all the other relevant information, including the video on the meditation. But I'm sorry for the glitches, some issues there. The audio is not available, so that video will be in the group. Okay, now I open for question. If you have any, or maybe already I bombard you too many information tonight, too much information. Okay, make it quick. I think a lot of people have already been waiting for 1.5 hours. Okay.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Chitra here. Just want to ask the points, how you touch it, or
No, you bring the point. I mean, you close your eyes, you imagine those points in your mind. Means you are, say, at the midpoint of eyebrow.
okay.
Then in your awareness, so you bring it to the, like the first one, you bring it to the throat point. That is the second point. Then you move to, it's all in your imagination. Then you move to the shoulder point. Okay.
So
So
can you
first,
touch it or you visualize it?
no, you visualize it. So you're touching by visualizing.
Okay.
That means your mind is touching it. Your
Okay.
conscious mind is touching it. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
Right. No, you thought. All right. Okay, I make it clear. So you are doing it through your imagination, not by touching it with your hands. No.
Sir, can I ask something?
Sure. Can you identify yourself?
Oh, I'm Wong, okay.
Mr. Wong. Okay, from Penang. Yeah.
Yeah, from Penang. Okay, the thing is that on the slides on the exercise detail and so forth, are you going to share with us, because we cannot remember the thing, how to take in our breath and how to which are the points and so forth, you know, that we're going to focus on and so forth.
Okay, what I will do? Okay, Mr. Wang, I'll make a video on how to, the method of visualizing and the breathing also together with the, okay, I'll put in the group. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank
Okay. And first, so I will share the slide hopefully by tonight. So you begin by studying the points. Okay. I already prepared some write-ups for you, for all of you. I will email that, and you also can study the basic philosophy, the write-up about the whole thing. All right.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Any other question or comment? So if you have any difficulty in understanding the concept, is this too much? Okay. Or am I going too fast? Okay, you have to let me know. Okay. Is it okay? The face, is it okay? The clarity and all that, is it okay with all of you? Okay. Or all of you already go into silence or meditation. There's no voice. I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, it's okay.
No, in fact, hello.
Sir, a demo would be nice, like you can show us in the video.
Yeah, I'll do.
A full
All right.
demo. Okay.
Yeah, but I cannot demo how I visualize. Okay. I will just show how you do that. Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
Right. Okay. Okay. No questions. So okay, if you have some personal question, you can text me also. Okay. All of you have my phone number. Right. Okay. Text me, but don't text me when I sleep. You know. Okay. So yeah. The surprising, some people when I started, when I was about to start the class, some people messaging say they want to join the class, and we gave them ample of time. So I really appreciate all of you because you followed the instruction. Okay, you started early. So even some of you missed the even if you did late registration, but not too late, But some people are still calling me today, and some people are calling at 8 o'clock. And I won't, and I actually I couldn't entertain them because I already started the class, right? Okay. Thank you very much, all of you. Okay. Have a good night. And see you again next week. And of course, we will be interacting throughout the week, and I will put some videos for you. All right. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you.